Hey everybody, welcome back to Pool Owner Basics, where I show you things that you should know about your pool. And today we are going to be talking about cleaning a cartridge filter. Alright, so before we get started, you might be asking yourself, how do I know when my filter needs to be cleaned? And there's a couple different ways you can tell. One reason would be the pressure gauge here. Now this gauge is not working correctly, so it is stuck on about 11. But normally when you have a clean filter, it'll start around here at 10 or 11, and then once it gains pressure up to about 20, that's when you know it's time to change, or not change, but clean the filter. This one is not working, so I could not go by that today. We're going to go ahead and change that out. But what caught my eye today is actually the way the pump is behaving. So as you can see, it's barely pushing any water through the filter. It's having a real hard time, it's struggling, and there's nothing in the pump basket to block it. And there's not a lot of leaves in here, so the impeller isn't clogged or anything. So that tells me the filter is definitely dirty. Alright, so let's talk about a couple of the tools that I'm going to be using today. First thing you're going to need is a regular flathead screwdriver. Hope you can see these in the rocks here. I have a 9/16 socket. Now this one is a Jandy filter, so it has a 9/16 on it, but if you have a Pentair filter, it's going to be larger than that. Also, I have a pair of channel locks, and I'm going to be using an aqua comb to get inside the fibers of the filter really good. If all you happen to have is a regular hose sprayer, that'll work. It's okay, but it's not going to get in there as good as one of these is. So if you have a cartridge filter, I'd recommend picking one of these up. And finally, we're going to be using some filter blaster, which is a spray and rinse filter cleaner. It's going to get the oils, the minerals, the scale, all the gunk off of the filter, and we'll talk more about that in a second when we get going here. Alright, so obviously the first step is going to be to turn the pump off. Definitely want to turn the pump off. And next thing I'm going to do is open the valve on top. It's going to release all the air, all the suction from in there. That way the top will actually come off whenever we get this band off. Alright, next we're going to start removing the band around the filter. Now you can use a drill if you want to. I like to use hand tools just so I can feel how tight it is. But if you use a drill, just be careful. Alright, now that we have this loosened up, now we're going to take this clamp off. This is where the screwdriver comes in handy. You want to be very gentle. Sometimes they will come off without the screwdriver. This particular clamp is going to come off in 2 pieces, and you just want to gently set it to the side. Sometimes they can be a little difficult. Alright, so you see it comes in 2 pieces, just like so. Set it aside. So now we're ready to pull the top off. Comes off just like so. Put this over here. Alright. Now look how dirty those filters are. Pretty bad. Alright, so now we are going to take off this top piece, which is called the manifold here. Now with this, you want to be very, very gentle, because this piece is just plastic and it can crack pretty easy. There's a lot of gunk on there, so be very careful. Taking this off, just kind of edge it into the side here, very carefully, a little bit at a time, not being too rough on anything. Very gently prying these up. Alright, so the manifold's ready to come off now, and the reason you want to be pretty gentle with it is because if you'll notice, this piece here has an O-ring on it, and you don't want it to be stretched out, because once we get it all clean, you're going to want this piece to fit nicely back on there with no issues. So be careful. All this stuff is just plastic and it can crack if you're too rough on it. So let's go ahead and get these filters out of here and get them clean. To get the filters out, you're pretty much just going to grab it by the top here, give it a slight wobble and lift straight up, and it will come out. Maybe give them a little twist. All right. So one quick note about the filter cleaner. If you don't use filter cleaner and you just spray it off with water, you can get a lot of the gunk off, but you're not really getting the oil and the grease out of there. So your filters are going to get dirty much quicker. They're not going to last as long before your next cleaning. Also, I've heard people using things like acid to clean the filters, muriatic acid. I do not recommend you do that. You will ruin your filters, and they definitely will not last that long. The acid will break down the fiber of the filter, so do not do that. Only use filter cleaner. There's other brands besides Filter Blaster, but this is the particular one that I use. So when you're using the Filter Blaster, you're pretty much just going to go around the whole thing and spray it down. Try to get up in there a little bit. Just go all the way around, spraying, spraying, spraying. Trying to get all up in those fibers. Just give them a good coating, and then let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then rinse it off. Alright, so this video is taking a slight turn. I was gonna show you guys some clean filters, but as I'm cleaning these filters, I'm noticing that they probably just need to be changed. And I thought, man, this video's not turning out very well showing nice clean filters. I probably should just not make this video right now. But then I thought, I gotta show you guys the bad stuff too. And things don't always work out like you expect them to. So as you can see, this filter here, I've already cleaned it and I've sprayed it with the filter blaster, let it sit, cleaned it again, and it's still not very clean. I would say this is time for a new filter probably. So this one doesn't look too bad, but some ways you can tell a filter needs to be replaced is if these bands are starting to break to keep the fibers together. Also, you'll see on some of these other ones, oh yeah, it's bad lighting right there. So I don't know if you can see, but look how wavy these are getting. They're not tightly packed anymore like they used to be. So when they start getting wavy like this, they're breaking down. Also, just the color of them, they're dark brown, they're holding onto so much gunk and they're not releasing it, so that dirt is really embedded in there pretty deep. And you can see even the clean one over here isn't looking that clean. So I'm going to go ahead and recommend some new filters for them. In general, filters usually are going to last you about 2 to 3 years, but that all depends on how much the pool is getting used and like what kind of debris or trees you have around the pool. There's not a whole lot around this pool in particular, but this pool does get used a lot, especially in the summertime. So we're gonna go ahead and recommend some new filters, I guess. So let's get it all put back together. Alright, before we put these not so clean filters back in, you're going to want to check the tank out. So if you'll notice around the O-ring of the tank, there's probably a lot of dirt and sand and grit. So you're going to want to wash all that off. Give it a good rinsing, get all that gunk and grime out of there. That way we can get a nice tight seal and put the top back on. Make sure that O-ring up here is nice and clean. Give it a good rinsing. Alright, so you'll notice the filters are actually going to sit on one of these right here. Okay? This is going to go down inside the tank, and the filters are going to sit right on top of these holes here. So, now if you had a lot of debris inside of here, you're going to want to take this plug off. I don't know if you can see it here. There's a plug down here. You can unscrew this and wash out the tank and get any kind of dirt that's down in there out. This tank's pretty clean, so we're just going to go ahead and put the new filters back in and start her up. I thought we were going to have some nice clean white filters going back in here, but things don't always work out, do they? Alright, now we got those in there. Don't forget to put your top back on. Everything's nice and clean, so this top will sit right on here. Just kind of get everything lined back up. Make sure it's all secure and snug. Alright, now we're ready for the top to go back on. So pretty much do the reverse of what you did. Take the top off, put the top back on, put the clamp on, and then you can begin tightening up the clamp. Alright, so you might be wondering what the channel locks were for. Now normally I would use a mallet for this because you want to be very delicate. I don't have my mallet right now for some reason, so what we're going to do with these is we're going to give it a nice little tap on the back side. And that way we can continue to tighten this up and it won't be loose in the back, because we want to get a nice good seal all the way around here. And by the way, I did rinse this off really good before putting it back on. So you're going to want to tighten it a little bit, go around, give it a little tap 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 around the side, tighten some more until everything feels secure. Alright, now that we're all tightened up, we're going to go ahead and turn the pump back on. And we're going to let the air come out of the filter from the bleed valve here. And then once it starts squirting water out, we're going to go ahead and shut this off and we'll be good to go. Let's see how long it takes. Filling up there. And that's it. We're back running. And look how good that pump is running now. You can't even see any air in there. It's running so good. Alright, we're going to wrap this one up here. things didn't go exactly as we planned, but hopefully you guys learned a few things along the way. And I'm sure we'll have another filter cleaning here soon where we can get that nice satisfaction of having some clean white filters when we're done. So that's all for today, I guess, and thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.